So the first thing we need to do is we're just going to be using the standard Microsoft iSCSI initiator. This is free. If it doesn't come on your server, it's 2008. It should be on there already. If it's not on your server, you can just go and download this from Microsoft.
Yeah, I think on 2008 is a feature you had. That's what I didn't have before.
Yeah, I think Windows 7, Vista, and some of the desktops, it's all on there now by default. So yeah, 2008. So the first thing we need to do is we need to tell the initiator where to go and find the iSCSI target. So it's going to want to connect to a target which is going to be presenting this. So we need to tell this device how to connect to it. So we just say add, and we just need to put the IP address in of our iSCSI device, which was 172.27.30.6.
Yep.
Right? So that's the IP address, and 3260 is iSCSI port. Typically, the 30 or that network would be on a separate VLAN, and typically you would have a dedicated network card on your server which was also on that network. So you'd also be on the 172.27.30. Now we are not on that network. I think we're on the 172.27.0. So we're actually routing to our iSCSI target. But this shows the flexibility and how easy it is to connect to an iSCSI SAN, because you can route. Doing this kind of thing in fibre channel is pretty much impossible. It's not really designed for routing, but IP is designed for routing. Therefore, we don't actually have to be on the same subnet or VLAN.
And unlimited distance as well, I suppose, isn't it?
Yes, it's unlimited, but you always have to remember about latency.
Yeah,
latency is key with storage for any decent performance, but in theory, yeah, distance could be unlimited. So we're going to put in the IP address of our iSCSI device, and I know that this particular device has actually got 2 ports for high availability and load balancing, so 172.27.30.7.
So with this configuration, I suppose, if we do lots of copying over this iSCSI, we're in danger of losing our RDP connection.
Possibly, yes.
It'd be good if we do.
Okay, so we've got our device that we're going to try and communicate with. Now, as soon as I've put those in, straight away, the iSCSI initiator, as it says up there on the previous tab, Discovery, communicates off and then says, okay, what can I see? Now we've got this big long list here because we've got a lot of iSCSI devices on our network, but for the purposes of this, there's only a couple that we're interested in, and the ones we're interested in is actually the one at the top, which is the one ending in 4698. Now I can just show you quickly where these numbers come from so you know what you're dealing with. If we go back to our SAN, this particular one, and if I click on the controllers, the controllers have an ID. Remember, we're always dealing with IDs. You could say the end in 4690, so the actual name for the controllers ends in a 0, but the controllers have a number of ports, and if we connect to the ports, you can see each of the ports has a different number, 4, 6, 9.
Yeah.
So we get 8 and 9 on that particular one. If we click on the other one, we got D and C. Now what we've done is, if you remember the diagram on the presentation, we've got an iSCSI gateway. So what we've done is we've got an iSCSI port, and we've converted, which comes in at IP, goes out of fibre channel, direct one-to-one mapping, and the port maps onto this particular fibre channel port on the SAN. So this port goes straight into the iSCSI gateway, and then that will present iSCSI to the rest of the world, so it's invisible to the host. So what we're looking at there is the 469C, and then if we go back to the iSCSI, you can see the 4698 as well. You know we're looking at the right device.
Yeah.
So if you were unsure and you see that big long list, you can tell by those numbers that we're looking at the right device. So the thing we want to do, it says inactive at the minute, we need to log on to that device. So we can select that device and it gives us a couple of options here. So we say, do you want to restore the connection? Normally on iSCSI, very good idea. If you're going to present a disk, when the server reboots, you want it to automatically connect back to the storage. Otherwise the disk will not be available straight away. Multipathing, if you don't have any manufacturer's multipathing software, so people like HP do MPIO, Dell do MPIO, and lots of manufacturers do MPIO. Microsoft actually provide their own version of MPIO as well. But if you've got a manufacturer's MPIO driver, then I would always recommend you use that one first. So I'm just going to say just connect when the server reboots. And then there should be, because we put in 2 IP addresses, there should be another copy of that one further down. If your eyesight is better than mine, is that the one there, 4698? So we're going to log on to that one as well. So we're going to connect both of those ports up. Okay, so we've defined the iSCSI target, the destination that we're going to connect to, the iSCSI SAN. So we've said to the server, go and communicate with that SAN. So now if we go back to the SAN, and this time we're going to go up to our hosts. So we've got our hosts, so put them all together in the same folder. So we've got our IT idiots host server 1. Now you'll see here we can either define a host as fibre channel or iSCSI. I can't actually say that a host is both.
Okay.
So all we need to do is define a host again, but this time we'll say it's iSCSI. Yep. So IT idiots. Oops. Server 1. This time I'll put iSCSI at the end, so we know it's the iSCSI one. I'm going to select iSCSI. So now, a bit like fibre channel, it's going to say, well, how do I know what this host is? It's going to need some unique ID. When we was in the iSCSI initiator, it would create a unique ID. I think I sort of skipped over that part. Well, when we go back, we'll have a look. But basically, that server now is also, just like the fibre channel, is transmitting its name and its ID.
Gotcha.
So it needs to be a unique ID, and the unique ID of that particular server is this vman01. And it asks us what the operating system is. Again, like the fibre channel, you could actually manually type it in if you knew what the name was. And it's asking us what the operating system is. This is so that the disk that it's presenting is optimized for that particular operating system, so it knows how Windows likes to see the disk and how it likes to work. You can see VMware's on there, Solaris. So this particular SAN can support different operating systems. Some SANs can do multiple operating systems, some can only do one, so you need to look at what you're buying. This one can do quite a few. So we're happy with Windows. So we're going to add the host, so Windows host, and you'll now see we've got 2 objects defined, one's fibre channel and one's iSCSI. We can now go back up to our disks and say, okay, let's create another disk. So create another disk. I'm going to call this iSCSI disk 1, so this would be a nice first iSCSI disk. And I'll make this one, shall I make this one just a bit larger so we can see it doesn't look like it's the same disk when we're in Disk Manager. And then we say present a host and iSCSI. And we say create. This will now go off and create our 20 gigabyte disk, and it will present it in an iSCSI format back to the same server that we're on. So it just takes a few seconds just to create that disk. Say OK, and there we go, 20 gig, 20 gig created already.